That's a long time, correct? Did you know in the social media world, when you're doing a live stream or a podcast, or even if you're speaking in front of individuals, even though that was only about 5 or 6 seconds, I believe, but yet that's an eternity within itself. And this is the reason why that I titled this topic, Breaking Your Silence. And I really want to go more in detail with it. But also, too, I was just inspired by watching one of our newest co-hosts to the Small Business Network podcast, or better yet, to the Small Business Network organization, Miss Tasha Peoples. And she did a great podcast for her first one. Outstanding one. And it got me thinking, because I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I was going to continue with the Mentor and Change Agent series, which, by the way, I absolutely love. I'm having an absolute blast. And that's still going to go. That's still going to continue because there's a lot more individuals I'm going to highlight and feature. But it was just a shift that I just got from Tasha when she did hers. And I said, you know what? The idea just came about just that fast. And this is going to be a powerful one. I just prayed on it because I don't know true the direction this is going to go. I don't know if it's going to be spirited. I don't know if I'm going to get very animated. Or I'm going to be very calm and be very humble as I'm doing this podcast. But you know what the great news is? We're not going to be silent. More importantly, we're going to be talking about breaking your silence. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast. I am your host here, Sean A. White, here in the Magic Center, Atlanta, Georgia, where it pretty much all happens. And if you're catching this on the live, do me a favor, if you will. Put in hashtag live. And if you can let me know exactly where you're tuning in from, I love interaction. I love engagement. And by the way, if you should happen to catch this on a replay, put in hashtag replay. If you're following me for the first time, just to give you just a little bit about me, because it's not about me, it's about you guys. I'm the founder and creator of a brand which is called Transformation Greatness, which is all about motivating, encouraging, and inspiring the masses. And with that, it is a threefold brand, which not only have I been gifted as far as with being a speaker, also a coach, in addition with a hypnotherapist practitioner, but also I'm a partner and CEO with the Small Business Network as being a radio and TV personality with Dr. James McConnell and my awesome colleagues and so much more. But that's pretty much about me. It wasn't about me to begin with. It's about you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about breaking your silence. You know, it's very interesting as I open this up a bit more. Man, it just reminds me of when I was younger, right? And I remember a distinct time when I was in class, and I believe I was in the 6th grade. And my teacher, Miss McCrary, I remember that she asked me a question. And it was interesting because since I was very gifted intellectually, I used to always know the answer and then have like healthy dialogue and conversation. But there was this one occasion where she asked me a question. Now, prior, just to go ahead and set this up, boys and girls, she asked this question about 20 minutes ago, and nobody in the class knew. Everybody was looking around at each other, and it was like, I don't know. Ask Sean. Sean know everything, right? Sean know everything. So when it came down to me, and she asked me that question many minutes later, everybody just looked at me and pretty much was just laughing like, yeah, Sean know everything, right? Sean this, Sean that, Sean. And it was, even though it was something that, you know, all my students were basically, you know, making fun of me and joking around, But something internally switched on me. And it said, maybe if I don't answer the question, maybe if I act like that I don't know, then maybe they'll leave me alone in class. And so that actually kind of spiraled. And I didn't know that subconsciously it was something that was traumatic. Now, I'm getting somewhere with this, in which I want to ask you all, how many times in your life that you've been silent? How many times were your gifts and talents, which by the way is supposed to make room for you, but you silenced them due to the fact of what critics may say, what your friends may say, or so-called friends, or even with the ones that you admire and respect the most, your loved ones would say. That's real interesting. And who would ever thunk it that from that time, things would spiral down and I would to develop, which is known as an inferiority complex and an identity crisis. You see, ladies and gentlemen, when we silence ourselves to please others or to not to be ridiculed or even scolded, that question I want to ask you, who's truly being affected by it? Now, obviously us, but I want you to think just a little bit more deeper. Think about the many times that you silence yourself, which you know is right, but you choose not to stand up or even say nothing. You know as far as how to do something, but yet because you don't want to receive that self-rejection or rejection from others. How many times, ladies and gentlemen, have we actually sat back and not said anything? Tasha raised a great point when I was watching her podcast. And I won't share her story. If you want to learn more about her story, then you have to reach out to her and check out her most recent podcast on her page. Actually, I shared it on my page, so please feel free to take a look at that. But because of this young lady, she done endured so much. And she talked about stopping the silence, of breaking that generational curse, in which takeaway in which I got out of it. And so now she's on a mission and she has a movement. And not only is she doing podcasts, but in addition as well, she got a book out. She got a course out. Ladies and gentlemen, she's on fire. And because of the fact she made a conscious decision to stop the silence. And I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, those that's on this live or even catch this on a replay, when will you break your silence? Okay, I think I missed some folks, so let me go ahead and spin it to you another way. How many of you, ladies and gentlemen, that got gifts and talents, knowing that you're supposed to be speaking, knowing that you're supposed to be an entrepreneur, knowing that you're supposed to be teaching, knowing that you're supposed to be doing so much more greater, but because of the fact of, like I mentioned, you have an inferiority complex, or you may have people that disappointed you, or you may have people that probably made fun of you. How many of you? And more importantly, how many people are affected because of the fact that you're silent? Oh, you know what? I think I'll go ahead and play small. I don't want to let people know how articulate I am. I don't want to let people know how creative I am. I don't want to let people know how business savvy I am, or how much of a visionary I am, or how ambitious, or how I'm so relentless in my work ethic and my drive and my commitment. How many of us is just silent and like, you know what? I don't want to, quote unquote, ruffle any feathers. Quote unquote, I don't want for my family to talk about me. Come on now, talk to me, somebody, please. Somebody say something. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm starting to see the comments now. I'm sorry about that. Okay, you on point. Thank you so much, Dr. James. But it's something really to think about. I said this before, and I'll say this many, many, many more times. We are in an era where we have technology at the palm of our fingertips. Let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in. Ladies and gentlemen, we all know what this is, right? Duh, right? It's a cell phone. Okay, Sean, so what's your point? My point is this. Do you know that with the touch of a button, you can literally go on any platform, right? Whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, well, X, Threads, etc., etc. And if we can post something that may not even be about value, maybe something about a fight or something negative, right? And we can all comment and be like, yeah, girl, yeah, man, that's crazy, blah, 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 blah. Think about how much more we can use these platforms for. But do you know there's many of us that, in spite of everything of what I just said, oh, and by the way, these platforms that I mentioned are for free, right? There's no monthly subscription. There's no annual subscription. They're totally free. Free. But yet there's so many individuals that are still silent. Thank you, Roro Lewis. I appreciate that. But it's also a mindset shift as well. Because when you decide to break your silence, not break his silence, not break her silence, not break their silence, but break your silence, it's very freeing. And once you realize the freedom in that, now you are able to create with no restrictions, no judgment, and no condemnation. I was challenged this week, and I'm going to share this with you guys, right? I was challenged this week when I was in speaking training class. And our teacher asked us all, out of everything in which that you do, what is your specialty, right? What is that thing that if you were to think about it without fail, without hesitation, that you can do and it makes your soul set on fire? And so I thought about it. I thought it was hypnotherapy, because Dr. James knows when it comes to human behavior and just people, I don't know. I really think something's wrong with me because I'm obsessed with that, right? I read books, I read documentaries. I mean, like literally, I go in. I just don't know. But then I had to think about it as well. And I thought about it over the past few days. And I would have to say, being a speaker. And I had to think about why, Sean, why a speaker? Because ever since I was a little kid and I used to entertain my mom, right? Because Michael Jackson is my favorite artist, right? Ain't no one topping him, not even close. No argument. And I remember when I used to entertain my mom and when I do presentations and, and have my cousins and my aunt and all of them excited and everything. And just, I don't know, it was just natural. It was just something that I absolutely love. It didn't matter as well. There wasn't no social media, obviously, and all that stuff. So everything was like face to face. And it was just something that I should just love, right? It was natural. I didn't understand it, but I had a great time with it. And so what is my point of me sharing you that story? Because when you break your silence, as passionate as I just got, and if you notice my voice inflection, you will be the same way in terms of you breaking out your silence and doing exactly what you love. Speaking up on topics that you're passionate about, right? Being a part of projects and doing creative things in which you are passionate, you absolutely love. If you ask Dr. James, does he love the day in and day out activities the building, the educating, the growing, the development, right? He loves that stuff. That's why we call him the mad scientist for a reason. Trust me. He's a mad scientist for real. But he loves that stuff. He loves astronomy news. He loves business. You understand what I'm saying? He loves it. And he'll tell you that in a heartbeat. And he's not shy about it. And that's what I'm trying to get to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. When you're breaking your silence, there's a certain love and a fervor and a passion, right? And no matter if someone tries to silence you, someone tries to shut you down, they can't. No way, no how. Question, whatever areas are you silent in and you're not willing to step up to the forefront? Well, damn, wait a minute. I ain't want to come on this podcast and be challenged. Well, that's totally fine. I mean, you do have the option to watch cat videos or watch someone that appeals to you. Totally fine. And you are free to leave. Totally fine. But if you're like me and you love as far as for your mind to be shifted, you love as far as to look at things from a different perspective, because that's where the growth comes in. If you love as far as to learn and grow and get 1% better each and every single day, and you can care less what other people think about you, then stay tuned. Stay on here. This is important stuff, I believe. If you guys believe that this is important, do me a favor right now. Go ahead and share this out to your respective media handles. Please tag someone that you believe can benefit from this. Because we're in a time right now, folks, where you got to make it happen. Or guess what? If you don't make it happen within the next couple of years, it ain't going to happen. Point blank, period. Well, Sean, wait. Hold on. I don't think like that, man. I feel I got like 10 years to get it going. I got 15 years to get it going. That's totally fine. I'm not here to argue or even debate with you. Just knowing about 10 to 15 years, if you decide to go ahead and really start, and I'm talking about for my adults. I ain't talking about, kids that's like 5 or 6 years old, obviously. But if you're an adult, and if you have that way of thinking, then I wish all the best for you. I really, really, really do. Breaking your silence. You can start today. Here's one way. Make a committed decision. I challenge you, if you are in that space and you're like, man, I would love to, I don't know, it has to be some kind of block somewhere. I really don't know. Then after this podcast, send me a message. Let's have a conversation. Let's really get down to the nitty-gritty. And I understand everybody's situation is different. Trust me, I get it. However, the more silent that you are on your gifts and talents, on your creativity, not only are you being selfish, but you're being selfish to others as well. Ooh, no, he didn't. Wait a minute. Dr. James, I just hurt somebody's feelings. I believe, 2 people just left. I just hurt somebody's feelings. So you know what? Let me go ahead and say it again and see where I get. Do you know that when you're being silent and you're not allowing for your gifts and talents to take root, when you are not letting people know who you are, what's your vision, what do you stand for, what are you willing to fight for, what are you willing to die for, better yet, and you're being silent, not only are you being selfish, but you're being selfish to other people. It's the truth. When I came to that realization some years ago, it was a gut punch. I ain't gonna lie to you. it hurt the ego tremendously. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was like, hold up, man. Wait a minute. Who you think you talking to? But, you know, I was talking to God, so I had to humble myself. I had to humble myself. I was like, wait a minute. I ain't talking to another man now. Hold on now. I'm talking to the creator, so I had to humble myself. But it was a gut punch, man. It was a gut punch. And I think that it was more so not necessarily the pride or the ego, but if we could be honest, I think it was more of a not feeling worthy. Not feeling good enough, right? Because I allow for my gifts and talents to be doormat and just figure, well, you know what? If I'm silent, Dr. James, then they won't know how articulate and intellectual I am. Maybe, Dr. James, if I don't give my opinion, people won't see as far as the visionary that I am, right? Tasha, if I don't say anything, then people won't know how creative I am if I'm creating content, right? Think about it. Just think about it for a second, guys. If you don't say anything, right, it takes less brain power. It takes less energy. I'm not going to say anything. But deep inside, you feel it. You're like, man, I can't believe I let another opportunity go to waste. I can't believe there was a situation in which I couldn't improve. I could have made it better, right? And they were asking for my opinion. It was asking for my input, right? And I know of what I got, it can at least move the needle at least 1%, or it can at least help someone think differently, or at least, more importantly, I could have saved someone's life. But because of the fact that I was too scared and I was silent, come on, somebody, talk to me now. Talk to me. Someone's life was affected. An opportunity was lost. I think I need a sip of water. What about you guys? Are you guys getting value from this conversation? I wonder if you guys getting value from this conversation. Let's see here. Yep. So Tasha says, right, very selfish. Don't waste your skills and talents, right? Nobody will know when you don't say anything or express it. Very true. So why is there so many of us that's still silent to this day? With all the access we have, right? From all the different sites that we can go to gather information, right? Why is it, right, where there's so many people on social media, from Facebook to Instagram to LinkedIn to YouTube? Matter of fact, forget about all that. Scratch all that, right? With so many people that's in shopping centers, so many people that's in restaurants, so many people that takes their kids to school, but so many people, you get the point. But yet, all of a sudden now we get antisocial. We don't know how to open our mouths and have a conversation, right? And get to find out about individuals. And then when they ask what exactly that you do, we get as silent as a church mouse. Come on, somebody. Talk to me now. Don't get silent on me now. Come on now. You guys are speaking a lot. Come on, don't get silent on me. This is what this topic is about. Breaking your silence. See, there's a shift that has to be made, a paradigm shift. In order for you to really take it to another level, to really work in your gift, to really get to the next level, right? You have to be willing to do something different. You have to be willing to try something different, right? I want you to think about this. want you to think about this, right? If you look at a picture, let's say for instance of a cat. I want you guys just to close your eyes for a second. And I want you to visualize a black cat. Black cat with green eyes. Black cat with green eyes. Everybody close their eyes and visualize a cat right now. Right now, black cat with green eyes. And if you look at that cat long enough, in your mind, with green eyes, what do you see? A black cat with green eyes, obviously. Now, say for instance now, that the black cat with green eyes, it starts to walk backwards. And instead of saying meow, it starts to bark like a dog. So now you're really like, wait a minute, a black cat with green eyes walking backwards, barking? That's interesting. And then even better, a black cat with green eyes walking backwards, barking like a dog, but now jumping backwards, doing backflips. And you're like, okay, this is getting kind of interesting. So Sean, where are you going with this example? What I'm saying is this, guys. When you do the same things over and over and over and over again, but you're expecting something differently, isn't that called insanity? Or sure, absolutely, it can be blue with red eyes, whatever you want. Totally fine. But the point is, what you're trying to get at, is that in terms of breaking your silence, if you're just being silent all the time, but you're expecting for people to hear you, you're expecting for individuals to give you a chance, if you're expecting for individuals to give you a shot, if you're expecting for your situation to change, but you're like this, two things for certain. No one can hear you, and no one can't read your mind. But yet you're expecting different results. I'm going to end out this segment by saying this, because I believe that you guys have gotten the point. Obviously, you're a very smart, articulate bunch. So you got it. I just wanted to drive that point home. My last point is this, guys. We're closing out 2023. This has been a very interesting year on many accounts, but it's also been a year of tremendous growth at the same token. How you close out 2023 is going to pretty much dictate how your 2024 is going to look. The question I'm going to ask you, closing out 2023, moving into 2024 and beyond, will you be willing to break your silence? Somebody asked a question down here. Dr. James said, how would a person break the silence if they are intimidated? Interesting. The question I want to ask you, would they be intimidated by the response that you give them? Wait a minute. That was powerful. That was so powerful right there, ladies and gentlemen. I have to take my glasses off for that. The question Dr. James asked, how would a person break the silence if they are intimidated? And the question I just posed back to that individual, what about now if that person would be intimidated by your response? I think I've said enough. I believe I said enough. If you'd like to reach me, ladies and gentlemen, I'm available on all the social media handles. Please feel free to reach out to me here on Facebook. Send me a message. Let's have a conversation around that and see as far as on what it looks like. You can reach out to me on Instagram or Mr_Politic35. In addition, on TikTok, Sean A. White, YouTube, Sean A. White. I'm pretty much available pretty much everywhere, right? But let's really go ahead and work on true transformation. Because I believe when you start breaking your silence, that's the first step towards your absolute greatness. In addition as well, I'm looking for 10 individuals, 10 people that's willing to bet on themselves. And I'm going to work with these 10 individuals one-on-one. I really want to tailor the sessions based upon what you would like to speak on, what would you like to get past, what would you like to excel at. And let's really get down to the root. Forget all this surface crap, right? Let's forget all that other cute stuff, right? All that cute and fine dandy. I'm talking about let's get down to the real core, to the root. Because I'm gonna tell you something from experience. When I got down to the root, I'm talking about to the core, to the stuff that was like, I don't really know about this. But that's how true transformation took place. And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to come on this platform, come on this live stream here, and come to you with such conviction. Because I've been through the process. And I know as far as on what it takes. So if that sounds like you, I would love as far as to have you, and let's see as far as what your adventure looks like. Also, for those as well, if you're interested in TV and radio and you would love to have your own channel built, by all means, please feel free to reach out to us as well. We can definitely help you out with that. If you are looking to become a co-host, as far as on the podcast series with the Small Business Network podcast, hey, would love to hear as far as your story, your message, your brand. Just reach out to me. Let's have a quick chat. And from there, if it's a mutual fit, we can definitely go ahead and get you rocking and rolling. So until then, family, thank you so much of your time. This concludes Transformation Greatness along with the Small Business Network podcast. And it has been a blast. And I'm going to end this segment like I do all my others here. And if what I stated on here either motivated, transformed, or inspired at least one person, and may God be the glory, and I take no credit for absolutely none of it. Until then, you're all amazing. Be on the lookout for more updates. There's going to be some more exciting stuff I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And until then, peace and love. Look forward to the next episode. Thank you for your time. Have a good night, everyone. Peace and love.